It's kind of funny to think about how we used to build websites, right? Just FTP some files to a server and boom, you're live. Well, those days are long gone. Today's web is something else entirely. It's intelligent, it's alive, it's powered by AI, and it's always changing, which naturally brings up a pretty huge question.
So what's actually powering this intelligent web of the near future? Well, it turns out one of the key players at the center of it all is a company you've probably heard of, Vercel. And their story, how they got here, is just fascinating. So let's dive right in.
Okay, so Vercel's evolution has been, well, a total whirlwind. If you look back, they kicked things off in 2015 as a company called Zeit. Their whole mission? Just make the developer experience better. Simple as that. Then, by 2020, they rebranded to Vercel, and their mission got a whole lot bigger. And today, today they're positioning themselves as a comprehensive AI cloud platform really built for what's coming next.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll talk about this quiet revolution they started. Then we'll get into the power couple that is Vercel and Next.js. After that, we'll dive deep into their whole strategy for architecting the AI cloud, check out the advanced compute and storage under the hood, and finally, wrap up with a look at the future of Vercel.
All right, first up, the quiet revolution. This is where Vercel really started to shake things up. See, they weren't just thinking about making hosting simpler. No, they wanted to fundamentally change the entire relationship between our code and the cloud it runs on. And their big idea to do that was something they call framework-defined infrastructure.
So what on earth is framework-defined infrastructure? Let me put it this way. Think of a generic cloud provider, right? They kind of give you a giant box of Lego bricks and just say, hey, good luck, go build something cool. Vercel's approach is totally different. It's like they hand you the custom-built chassis of a Formula One car and say, just drop your engine in. The platform is literally tuned for modern frameworks, which means it automatically knows how to squeeze every last drop of performance and scalability out of your code with zero configuration. It's a complete game changer.
And that idea leads us perfectly into our next topic, the ultimate power couple of the modern web, Vercel and Next.js. I mean, you really can't talk about one without talking about the other. This symbiotic relationship is the absolute core of Vercel's strategy.
Just look at the recent updates in Next.js. They've supercharged development. Their new engine, TurboBack, is finally stable, and the numbers are just wow. We're talking a 53% faster startup for your local server, and code updates up to 94% faster. If you're a developer, you know how much time that saves. It's not just a small improvement, it's a massive boost to your workflow.
And this is where you can really see how deep that connection goes. Take a feature like ISR, incremental static regeneration. In Next.js, it's already a really cool concept for updating static pages without a full rebuild. But when you deploy that on Vercel's infrastructure, it's like bolting a turbocharger onto an already great engine. Suddenly, Vercel's global network can push out those updates in just 300 milliseconds. That's the magic right there. The framework provides the feature, but the infrastructure is what makes it absolutely sing.
So the big takeaway here is pretty simple. Vercel isn't just hosting Next.js, it's completing it. It's the other half of the puzzle. This tight integration creates this incredible synergy that results in two things every team wants: faster sites and faster development.
Okay, now for the main event. Let's talk about Vercel's biggest bet for the future, architecting the AI cloud. This is them moving way beyond just being the best place for your front end. They're aiming to build the absolute foundation for the next wave of intelligent, AI-native applications.
So what is this AI cloud they keep talking about? Well, you can think of it as the front-end cloud you already know, but on steroids. It's an extension of their platform with everything you need for the unique demands of AI apps. Enhanced connectivity to models, much smarter ways to run your compute, and built-in security that's ready for a world of AI-generated code.
And this gives us a really cool snapshot of what's happening in the wild. This is a look at the Vercel AI Gateways model leaderboard. As you can see, developers are using a whole mix of models. Claude Opus is leading the pack, but you also see Gemini, GPT, and others. The point is, the gateway acts as this central hub, making it super easy to manage all these different models, handle things like retries and fallbacks, and keep an eye on your costs. And to power all this, Vercel built their own AI SDK. When you put it side by side with something like LangChain.js, you start to see why they did it. Vercel's SDK is built from the ground up for streaming, which is absolutely crucial for responsive AI experiences like chatbots.
Plus, it's optimized for their edge runtime, which means it's incredibly fast. At the end of the day, that translates to lower latency and a way better user experience.
So, how does all this work so fast and so efficiently? Well, it's time to pop the hood. Let's get into the advanced compute and storage that's really making this AI cloud tick. Let's kick this off with a number that's pretty hard to ignore. Up to 95%. That is the potential cost reduction Vercel is claiming for I/O-heavy workloads. I know it sounds kind of nuts. So how is that even possible? Well, the secret sauce is this thing called fluid compute. With most serverless platforms, the clock is always running. Even when your code is just sitting there waiting for a database query or an API call to come back, you're paying for that idle time. Fluid compute completely changes that. You are only billed for active CPU time, when your code is actually running. The taximeter analogy is perfect. It's like the meter pauses every time you hit a red light. You're not paying for idle time, just the work being done.
And then there's Vercel sandboxes, which is another huge innovation, especially for AI. Think about it. As AI starts generating and running its own code, we need a really safe place to execute it. Traditional containers just don't cut it. They share a kernel, which can be security risk. Vercel sandboxes are different. They use micro VMs, so each one has its own dedicated kernel. It's completely isolated. This means you can safely run untrusted AI-generated code. And the best part? They spin up in milliseconds. It's security and speed built for the agentic web.
All right, that brings us to our final section, the future of Vercel. We're going to look at the competition, the costs, and this idea of a coming agentic web.
Okay, let's talk performance. This chart gives a really clear picture of typical cold start times. You can see Vercel serverless functions clock in at just over a second. That's significantly faster than Netlify's. But Cloudflare workers still have the edge on raw speed, coming in under a second. It's a clear illustration of the different architectural trade-offs each platform makes.
So, what does this all mean for you? Well, it really comes down to trade-offs. There's no single best platform for everyone. If you're deep in the Next.js ecosystem and developer experience is your top priority, Vercel is pretty much unbeatable. If you need raw bleeding-edge speed and you're watching every penny, Cloudflare is a fantastic choice. And if you value framework neutrality and a rich set of built-in features, Netlify is a really strong contender.
But at the end of the day, Vercel's core focus hasn't really changed since the beginning. And I think this quote really nails it. Their relentless focus on performance and developer experience ensures that it remains the foundational platform for the world's most ambitious web products. That's their North Star.
And this all leaves us with one last pretty critical question to think about. Vercel is clearly betting on a future where AI agents aren't just tools we use, but are first-class users of the web themselves. So the question we all have to ask ourselves is the infrastructure we're building on today ready for that future? Is it truly agent-friendly? Because that's a future that's coming faster than we think.